Hello everyone, it's Nick here with MP Gunsmith and Firearms located in Lewiston, New York. Our phone number is 716-481-7302 today. Today I got another fun one we're going to work on. This is a Rossi M92 and 45 long Colt. As I mentioned in a previous video when I was doing an upgrade on a Henry 410 axe, I am partnered with Ranger Point Precsion, or I am a dealer for Ranger Point Precsion. So they make all these neat accessories for your lever action firearms out there, whether it's a Marlin, Henry, Winchester, Rossi. They make everything from the stocks, the foregrips, trigger upgrades, different style sights, magazine tube followers. They make a lot of neat accessories for your lever action firearms. So with that being said, I'm going to be upgrading this Rossi M92 to a more modern style look. It should be a fairly simple upgrade to do. So if you're in my area and you got a lever action that you want to upgrade, maybe make it a little lighter. These components are lighter than the factory components. You just want that more modern look to it, get a hold of me and we'll go over all your options. So with that being said, we're going to get started. I'm going to move these components out of my way for now. And these kits, they come with all the necessary hardware. And first, like any firearm you work on, you want to make sure it's unloaded. So this one is unloaded. We are good there. And then we can get started. Make sure all your bits are the same, are the right size, so you don't strip anything. Just going to remove the stock and get it out of the way. We're going to do that part last. Put the new one on last. So, you get the screw where you can get it out. Yank your screw out. Sometimes you gotta give these stocks a whack. Pull them off of there. So we will set this out of the way. We're not going to be using it, but you can always save it in case you want to go back. I recommend saving all your parts. All right. You will be reusing the stock screw, so save that. That being with that off, with this particular model, we're going to have to drive the front sight off. So we'll drive that off. Make sure you get your blocks up. I try to use 2 blocks, so I'm not fighting the gun, wobbling back and forth. Get out the right size drift. Be afraid to give it a whack. Drift it right out, set that aside, you'll be putting that back on. Okay, we can flip it over. We will remove the front barrel band screw and the rear barrel band screw. We can get the fore end off of there, along with the magazine too. That'll be coming out as well. Take those down off the block real quick. Again, make sure you have the right bits for the right screw. In case you were wondering why we had to take the front sight off, this rear barrel band will not fit over that front sight when you go to get it off there. forget the magazine tube screw. And word of caution, this is spring pressure underneath here, so you have to be careful when you are removing it. So you don't launch your spring, your end cap. You don't want to hurt yourself or lose any of your parts. This one has already had the magazine tube follower replaced with a nice one from Ranger Precision. This is crafted of aluminum. It has these grooves cut in it, so it helps prevent the magazine tube following after years of usage. You'll be reusing the front barrel band, so you set that aside. The rear barrel band will be getting replaced with one from Ranger Point. Remove your magazine tube and get this forearm off of there. Again, set these components aside. You will be not reusing these components from your firearm. Save them in case you ever want to put them back on. Save them for resale if you like to sell your guns. It's up to you. Right now it's going to get set aside. So what I'm going to do now, get out the barrel band from Ranger Point, get my hardware out. Comes with all the set screws you're going to need. We'll set some of them aside. First thing you're going to do, you're going to get a little bit of Loctite. This is the new screw for this barrel band here. Okay, when you set this up, you have an index mark here. You want to make sure you have your everything indexed when you go to set this up in place. Okay. And oh, you can see, yeah, you can. There's a counter bar on this barrel band that's going to go to the right side of the firearm. Okay, so the side with your loading gate on it, that's going to go towards the right. Let's get a little bit of Loctite. For these applications, I would recommend using blue or green Loctite. I would not use red. In case you do need to ever take it off, you want to put the original back on, green is the way to go. Green or blue. You don't need heat to take it off. If you use red, you're gonna hate yourself. So put your Loctite in there, slide that down into place. Their kits do come with little Allen wrenches you could use to get everything started. These little Allen wrenches are good for starting your screws, not for torquing them or tightening them down. So when you install your front barrel band, you're going to want to keep your tension on the screw forward of the barrel, okay? Not in the middle. There's a little bit of play, so I'm going to be pushing this towards the muzzle, Want to tighten it down, get it snug, and then you want to make sure it's centered before you give it that final tight. Do that. You don't want to look down the barrel. But luckily for us, this has been checked, it's unloaded, and at this point, we are safe. So before we get this all tightened down, the rear barrel band, it's very important. The next step, we have to get the magazine tube installed and indexed, but you also have to have the foregrip from Ranger Point in place, because as you can see on the back side of it, the magazine tube sits inside this cradle here and it will not fit through this part of the foregrip. Okay, so we're going to get the foregrip kind of up in place, not all the way yet. Okay, get our magazine tube in the foregrip to where it needs to be. Index it. Hopefully we can all see this. I kind of got it in at an angle. Magazine tube's in. I'm going to run the magazine tube cap screw all the way in, because that's what indexes on the barrel. There's a little notch on the bottom of the barrel, and the screw protrudes through the magazine tube, and it'll set in that notch. So I'm just going to run it through. I will be taking it back off to put the magazine spring and the follower back in, so don't worry about going crazy with that. So that's in place. My foregrip's in place. I'm going to hold everything. I'll make sure my rear band is in the forward position, as far forward as it can go. Tighten these screws down, or this rear barrel band screw, and get her nice and snugged up. Okay, everything is tight the way it should be. Everything is indexed the way it should be. Snug that screw up. Now I should be able to get my foregrip down in place. Like so. Now with the mounting screws that are provided in the kit, I will apply a little bit of Loctite to them. There's screws like such. Oh, there we go. And they go into these lower holes here, and that's what's going to tighten them down to that barrel band. But there are also set screws like this to go two on each side. It's what you use to center that foregrip. Okay, so with that being said, we'll worry about that afterwards. Again, some more Loctite. Green, not blue. It's the way to go. Just kind of set them in place. Don't tighten them all the way yet. You want to get everything in place before you do anything like that. And now we're going to run in the set screws so we can center everything in the front and the rear. We can make sure this is how we want it to look. All the gaps are even. This is probably the most tedious part of this job. It's making sure everything is even so it looks right. Gonna need a different bit for those little guys. And now we're just going to run them in until they touch. Give me problems. What I'm going to do, I don't know if we can see it in here, we can see my gap is bigger on the left side than it is on the right, so I'm going to be turning the right side in until we get that gap even, and then I will move to the front of the set screws for the barrel band there. A little too far. A bit to come out of there. It's a lot of back and forth until you get that gap set. You set screws in place. Well, that being said, those ones, that gap is set how I want it to be. It's even. We'll move on to the front ones. We will set those gaps. Again, we're just going to run it down until it touches. A little bit more of a gap on the left side than there is on the right, so we're going to run that side in just a little bit more. And that looks good, just like that. So those set screws set, all your gaps are even the way we want it. We will tighten down the main screws. Make sure once more before we move on that all the gaps are where we want them. Everything looks good. Okay. So now we're going to remove the magazine cap, put our spring back in, get our front barrel band back in place. The rest is just simple stuff. We'll have to put the sight back in. Magazine follower, magazine tube spring. Slide everything in. What's going on with my magazine there? Make sure you're ready when you go to put this all together. Let's get our front barrel band back in place. I like to start the screws before I really go at them. I don't want anything to strip. These are little pieces and they are sensitive. So I don't always use a screwdriver until I get everything started. That tighten down. Install the magazine tube spring, the cap. Like I said, make sure you're ready to go. You have your screw ready to go. Hopefully everybody can see this. I'm not really paying attention to my camera. I don't want to launch my cap or my spring anywhere. Okay, that's in. I'm going to drive our front sight back into place. So I'm going to have to put that back up on blocks real fast. Do that. Get it in, get it started. And you gotta finish it off. It's almost centered. Alright, that one is centered back in there. So we can move on. We'll just put the stock back in. Put the punches out of the way. Don't need them no more. Block. Hey everyone, just quick full disclosure before I go ahead and finish the upgrade on this Rossi M92 Lever Action with the kit from Ranger Point Precsion. I've had to stop several times throughout this video to help do other stuff in the shop. As you can tell if you pay attention to the video, and you've got a different color shirt on, so it's a completely different day that I'm finishing this. But I wanted to finish making the video just to show how easy these kits are, and how they make the firearm look. They're neat kits. If you want to upgrade your lever action, some of them are easier than others to install. This one's fairly easy. Henry's and Winchesters, they're a little more difficult. Same with Marlins, because they use a Talon instead of a barrel band, and you gotta sometimes fit that Talon to fit the barrel. So it's just a little more time consuming to put them together. But with that being said, I'm going to finish this one, get the stock put on, and then that's it. So stock here, everything's ready to go. Slide it into place. Might have to tap it in all the way, so that's where a good rubber mallet comes in. You just tap it, make sure it's set. Okay, everything's in place, and then we can go ahead and get our screw in. Get the screw. and tighten everything down. Just like that, this one is done. Fairly simple upgrade to do if you want to make your lever action a little more modern looking. There it is. Like I said just a few minutes ago, I'm sorry about, you'll be able to tell there's been several pauses in this video, but I tried to pick up where I left off. So that's it right there. Those are the kits from Ranger Point Precsion. You can do to your lever actions. Like I said, they make trigger kits, so you can make a trigger pull lighter. They make those for the Henrys. They make them for the Rossis. I haven't looked to see if they make them for the Marlins. They make a lot of different neat things for your lever action rifles. So that's it. See if I can get a full view of that. And there it is. Okay. It's a very nice kit. Very nice upgrade you can make to your rifle. And I'm sorry about the pauses in the video, but I hope you enjoy, and that's all I got. Thank you.